Oh, hello there. Have you come to hear my tale? Well, settle in, my friend. It's going to be quite a journey. Hey, what's up you guys? It is Ty, and today I am sharing a story from my youth. Kind of, my trans youth. Back when I was a baby tran. So we're gonna crack one open and we're gonna get right into it. Ooh, the sweet burn. Man, I love the first drink of a Monster. It feels like a fucking chemical burn in your mouth. So our story takes place in 2014. I was a young baby tran, and I took a spring break trip to Hawaii to visit my sister. At this time, I was about 2 months on T. Some important context that you should know. I was 17, I did not have a driver's license, and I went to an online school, so I didn't leave the house much, like at all. I believe at this time I lived out on a ranch in Oklahoma, out in the middle of nowhere. Like the closest store to me was a Dollar General, and even that was a drive. So I didn't have a lot of face-to-face, in-person interaction with people at this time. So going to Hawaii, more specifically Honolulu, which is a pretty touristy area, I was, for the first time in my transition, suddenly surrounded by people all the time, meeting new people every day as I hung out with my sister and met her friends, and we went on hikes and went to the beach, and it was a really cool time. I had such a great trip. It was really significant because as I was meeting these new people, I was passing. They didn't know I was trans. Because I was on testosterone for about 2 months at this point, my voice had started to drop, and it was like really my first time experiencing socially being seen as a guy by everyone. So that was awesome, and I was riding high off of that. But that is not our story. Our story comes from the point at which that high was quickly killed. And that was in the airport security line as I traveled back home from my trip. As I'm sure you can imagine, there are a lot of people that go through the Honolulu airport. So the security line was packed, and they had TSA agents just kind of scrambling around trying to get everything done. You know, just doing their jobs. So I go through the line as usual, take all my shit out, take off my shoes, and wait to go through the metal detector. Which is just always, I'm always nervous during these, and I don't know why. I'm never like carrying any contraband or anything, but just, especially at this point because this was my first time traveling with testosterone, and while I had a prescription and everything, even today, like I always feel sketchy going through there with like needles and a vial in my bag. Mostly I just don't want to be questioned about it or like have the possibility of it being taken away. You know, there's just a lot of anxiety around this whole process where you know that they're gonna scan you and see things and you don't really know what they're gonna see, and so I was nervous, and I was probably visibly nervous. So they call me forward, and I go and I stand in that scanner. It's not just your typical run-of-the-mill metal detector. It's like the full body scanner. I always feel like I'm one of those, like at a bank, one of those tubes that you put in and you push the button and it goes, I feel like maybe one day I'm just gonna be sucked up. Probably not. So anyways, I'm doing that, and the TSA agents kind of stop and they take a second and they're talking and they wave me through, and the man tells me that he's gonna have to pat me down. At this time, I am wearing a packer and a binder. So I'm like, not surprised that they saw something on their scanner, but also not wanting to be questioned about either of them, obviously. But I figured, hey, I don't have a bomb strapped to me, I don't have a gun. When they pat me down, they're not gonna find anything. Surely, hopefully. So I know that I'm not doing anything wrong, but obviously still nervous. And the guy who's patting me down, there's a little bit of a language barrier. You could tell that English isn't his first language, so even when he's communicating to me that he has to pat me down, most of it is done just through like gestures and I get what he's saying. So we do the whole thing, and he pats me and he gets around to like my torso area and he's like really patting where my binder is. And he gives me this look, like he stops and he gives me this look, like, I got you, like I just caught you red-handed, motherfucker, like, and so I'm scared. And again, probably visibly scared. But he asks me what it is, and I tell him it's a binder. I said it's a binder, it's like an undershirt. And he's just still kind of looking at me, not really understanding. And I'm so nervous that I'm just like overly talking, you know? I'm like, you know, it's like you know, for your chest, like to make my chest flat, like trying to whisper because there's a million people around and I'm already embarrassed and scared. And so he leans in, right? And I'm telling him, I'm like, it's like, you know, for my chest to like keep it flat. And he kind of stops. And the loudest I could possibly imagine him saying it, he leans back and he goes, "Female?" And I was like, just like, oh my God, you know when you just like go numb? That's how I felt. So I was like, yeah. And I'm like looking around, and the motherfucker points at me and gestures. He yells at one of the other TSA, he goes, "Female!" And everyone, oh my God, and everyone's already looking because I already look so fucking sketchy, and then he yells "female." And I have a bulge in my pants because I didn't know how to fucking pack properly back then anyway, so I just felt so, oh my God. So then a woman comes over and she pats me down, and I explain the situation to her, and then she's like, "Okay, you can go." And then I went and I left. And that is my story. And I know that it doesn't sound like the end of the world, but I promise if you were there and someone was yelling "female" and pointing at you with a bunch of people around, and you already had anxiety in that situation, you would have felt just as mortified as I did. That, needless to say, is the last time that I traveled with a binder or even a packer on. And I've never had any problems since then, and I've never had problems with my testosterone. So that's the story of the time I got stopped at TSA and the agent pointed at me and yelled "female" very loudly. And I felt extremely uncomfortable. But I had a great time in Hawaii, and I ended up making it home just fine. And I ended up with a cool story. So that was a nice piece of YouTube content for me, if nothing else. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Hey, please leave your unique airport experiences in the comments below, whether they be very strange or anxiety inducing or, hey, maybe really good. Leave those down below. I would love to read those and hear from you. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I am very active on Twitter. If you ever want to talk to me, that is the place to do it. That is my video. That is my story. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.